Hey there, happy Friday. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Patricia Murphy with a roundup of today's top stories. It's October 24th. Mayoral candidate Katie Wilson says the city of Seattle should help unsheltered people get access to vacant workforce housing units. Today, some of those housing developers joined her opponent, incumbent Mayor Bruce Harrell, to push back against the proposal. Amy Radel reports.
Affordable housing developers say Wilson's proposal resembles the King County Regional Homelessness Authority's recent Partnership for Zero effort, which used vouchers to help people leave homeless encampments. Ben Moritz develops and manages affordable housing. He says that program promised client services that never happened.
Pretty much all of those people had to end up leaving the property after the course of their subsidy ran out. None of them really were able to successfully transition. And unfortunately, I don't know where a lot of them ended up. I'm fearful that many of them ended up back in homelessness.
But Katie Wilson says there are people in the shelter system without such complex needs who would be good candidates for vacant units. She also supports adding 1,000 more tiny houses for people leaving homelessness. Amy Radel, KUOW News.
A federal judge is once again weighing whether to allow National Guard troops into Portland. As Oregon Public Broadcasting's Dirk Vanderhart reports, U.S. District Judge Karen Immerget has promised a decision by Monday.
Immerget issued 2 orders earlier this month blocking troop deployments in Portland. The first barred President Donald Trump from sending Oregon National Guard troops into the city. That order was rejected by an appeals court on Monday. But a second, broader order remains in place. It blocks Trump from sending any National Guard troops into the city. The Trump administration argued in a hearing Friday that the appeals court ruling requires Immerget to dissolve her second order, at least enough to permit Oregon National Guard members into Portland. But attorneys for the state and city pushed back. They said the second order included more complex legal questions than the first. Immerget's decision will dictate whether Guard members can be sent to protect a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Portland that has been the focus of months of protest. I'm Dirk Vanderhart reporting.
Furloughed federal employees were out in the rain picking up trash at Seattle's Golden Gardens Park today. It's part of a voluntary week of service for civil servants prevented from doing their jobs. Scientists with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration used tongs to keep cigarette butts and other garbage from entering Puget Sound.
As federal workers, we signed up to serve the American people and to serve the public. And while we're on furlough and we can't do that as part of our jobs, we want to find other ways to give back to our local communities.
The employee asked not to be named for fear of retaliation. She says a lot of scientific research on oceans and the atmosphere has ground to a halt with the shutdown, now in its 4th week. Republicans who control Congress and their Democratic opposition have been unable to find a compromise to keep the federal government running. The shutdown is currently the second longest in U.S. history. In other shutdown news, federal food aid for mothers and babies in Washington is getting a cash infusion. The Women, Infants, and Children program, or WIC, will be funded at least through mid-November. The program was set to run out of money as soon as next week due to the federal government shutdown. But the state says the Trump administration is tapping money from tariff revenues to shore up the WIC benefits. More than 200,000 people in Washington get help from WIC, which provides food, breastfeeding support, and health screenings. Abortions by telehealth went way up after the end of Roe v. Wade, even in states where abortion remained legal. Eilish O'Neill has that story.
In 18 states where abortion is still legal, orders for abortion meds doubled after the fall of Roe in 2022. Anna Fiastro is a researcher at the UW School of Medicine. She says that might be in part because press coverage meant more people learned about the option.
Telehealth is on the rise. About 1 in 4 of all abortions in the United States are now completed via telehealth, and I think that will continue to grow. It's particularly important for those far from clinic-based care.
Fiastro says the people most likely to order abortion meds by telehealth are those who've had a previous abortion, those who are very early in their pregnancies, and those who live more than 100 miles from the nearest clinic-based option. Eilish O'Neill, KUOW News.
A former Microsoft executive has shown up in the latest release of the so-called Epstein files, according to the Seattle Times. Documents from lawsuits allege that former Microsoft chief technology officer Nathan Myhrvold rode on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet twice in the 1990s. Myhrvold also reportedly contributed to a birthday book made for the convicted child sex trafficker in 2003. But attorneys for the former Microsoft executive told the Times that Myhrvold and Epstein were simply acquaintances. They did not address the flight records. Seattle has been hosting a global event highlighting new efforts for ocean sustainability. It's called One Ocean Week, and it's centered around the arrival on the city's waterfront of a famous Norwegian tall ship. KNKX environment reporter Bellamy Palethorpe has the story.
The Stadsrat Lemkjul looks like it sailed in from the pages of a history book. It was built in 1914. It has 3 masts, the highest standing 157 feet tall.
From a perspective of a tall ship sailor, this is the most beautiful, fastest, remarkable tall ship in the whole global fleet of tall ships.
That's Joshua Berger, CEO of the Seattle-based nonprofit Maritime Blue. It was his idea to invite the ship to Seattle.
It is there to be the goodwill ambassador, the instigator, and the inspiration for ocean action.
On Monday, Berger and his team will take the helm of the ship and host the 8-day leg from Seattle to San Francisco. Among them are entrepreneurs, scientists, and 11 students from the University of Washington.
That was KNKX reporter Bellamy Palethorpe. Drivers, be aware. The westbound lanes of the 520 bridge are shutting down at 11 o'clock tonight. Both will then reopen between 9:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Saturday. That's to accommodate for the UW football game in the afternoon. After that, though, the bridge will shut down again and won't reopen until Monday morning. Traffic on eastbound 520 will remain open all weekend. Now, our feature story for today, hidden deep in the woods near Gig Harbor, boxers and fighters spar in an unusual spot. Not a gym or a boxing ring. It's a backyard fight club. Casey Martin went to the fights that attract millions of fans online and deliver more than punches.
Curtis Muldrow is about to fight in his first mixed martial arts match. He shifts back and forth, tightening his gloves.
I wanted to do boxing just to work on my hands, but I could do MMA too. It's cool.
Muldrow's a heavyweight, the biggest guy here, but he hasn't been in a fight for years. The 40-year-old works at a concrete company.
A lot of my coworkers thinking I'm getting knocked out, but I'm going to prove them wrong.
Muldrow slides a mouthguard between his teeth and walks into the ring. It's a makeshift cage built out of chain-link fences and plywood walls. About 30 people line the edge, cheering him on.
Beat him down harder!
This isn't your typical fighting ring. This is the scrapyard.
We are a backyard legal fight organization.
Steve Fire Chicken Hagara.
I should say community, rather.
He runs the scrapyard basically in a backyard outside of Gig Harbor. Since 2020, he's hosted kickboxing, mixed martial arts, and traditional boxing. Before this, Hagara used to be an amateur fighter and remembers the attitudes at gyms.
You show up to fight, everyone's kind of against everybody. It's kind of more strictly business.
He wanted the scrapyard to be different, more laid back, fun, and supportive.
It's meant to be more community, relationships.
It may be scrappy, but Hagara says they take safety seriously. He matches fighters up based on their weight and experience. There are volunteer referees, judges, and medics at every event. One volunteer is Justine White, who drives up every month from Oregon. White has an important job here.
I clean the gloves. Because those gloves can get pretty sweaty and pretty bloody.
She dirties the gloves too. White started fighting at the yard over a year ago.
I did not expect to get into this, but I absolutely love it.
And it's changed who she is outside of the ring.
I feel a little bit more confident that I can handle myself in unexpected situations.
There are rules at the scrapyard. They follow state martial arts regulations. Fighters have to check in with the medical tent before and after their match, and you have to be between 18 and 60 to fight. Other than that, anyone, even with no experience, can sign up. like Curtis Muldrow's opponent, John McClellan from Shoreline.
I thought about why am I doing this after I took the second or third good shot to the left side of my face, but yeah, you don't want to quit.
McClellan got a little banged up by Muldrow in the ring, but the two were chatting afterward in the med tent together.
I was talking to him before the match, I talked to him after. What a great guy. We're having good laughs, and boy does he hit hard.
Like a lot of people at the scrapyard, McClellan said he wanted to prove to himself that he could still hold his own. And he wanted to do it before he turns 40 next year.
Gonna have to explain it to my wife, though, so I held off on letting her know I was coming because I know she wouldn't have let me. But something I had to do.
This is going to be a surprise to your wife?
Oh, yeah, she's going to love my face when she sees it. I am in so much trouble, brother.
McClellan lost his match to the heavyweight Curtis Muldrow. I asked Muldrow how it felt to prove it to his coworkers.
They're going to give me some good praise. Most likely none of that's going to happen, so.
But you proved them wrong, at least today.
Hey, that's all that matters. I prove it to myself, and I prove it to everybody else who wants to talk down. Haters are always motivators.
In the past 5 years, the scrapyard has grown a lot. During the summer, organizer Steve Hagara says they'll have up to 50 fights a day. He went from uploading shaky cell phone videos to a full live stream with commentators, slow motion, and replay. The Scrapyard's Instagram alone has over 1.5 million followers.
It's crazy to think that we've been at this for 5 years and that we've really touched a lot of different people's lives and that they depend on this monthly.
Hagara says the next challenge for him is to not get in the middle of a fight while he's filming. At the Scrapyard, I'm Casey Martin, KUOW News.
Next week on Seattle Now, Amazon's future plans include fewer people and more robots in their fulfillment centers.
Warehousing jobs, logistics jobs, this has been a growing part of the country's workforce.
We'll learn more from New York Times reporter Karen Wise Monday morning. And that's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst, and I'm Patricia Murphy. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. Have a great weekend.